Welcome to episode number 2 of A Breath of Fresh Career. I am joined here today by a good friend of mine, CEO and founder, Mr. Garren Parkins.
What's up, Justin?
How are you? He's the CEO and founder of DeskRig, which is just taking the video conferencing world by storm. I'd love to talk to you a little bit, Garren, about what you're doing. Why don't I pass the mic over to you? Garren is a father, a great husband. He's got a couple little boys. The guy is he's an outdoorsman, loves 4x4 in his Toyota, camping. He even has a half pipe at his house. I think that's every boy's dream is to have a half pipe at their house at one stage in their life. So without further ado, this is Garren. I'd love to hear, kind of what you've been doing these days and tell us about DeskRig.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi everybody. Justin, thanks for the questions and the flattering introduction. I love the outdoors. Love my family. I've got 2 small boys. So definitely want to try to stay, a big kid so I can continue to be a good example for them. So definitely we built a half pipe in the backyard, which is proven to be probably bad for me. My knees already hurt. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I probably need to stay off that, but the boys are loving it, and hopefully they'll get years of enjoyment out of it and be able to go to school and be the only kids to ride a half pipe. So
yeah, they'll have all their friends over skateboarding in your backyard, man. So make sure you got room to expand that thing,
Oh yeah, I don't think it needs to get any bigger, bud.
That's great. That's great.
But we love the outdoors. I think actually this afternoon after the workday finishes, we're going to do some camping. So yeah, I'm definitely a Toyota man, and got into overlanding when the kids came along because we couldn't hike anymore, right? So,
tell me what overlanding is, because some of our listeners might not know.
Yeah, overlanding is it's car camping. I mean, that's exactly what it is, right? It is as simple as hopping in your vehicle and driving out in the wilderness and finding a campsite and unloading your car, being able to just carry more things over a larger amount of distances. So overlanding would be like an experience like driving from here to, central Kentucky and hitting some gravel, state roads and maybe camping along those roads or whatever. So
hitting the dirt roads, man, roads.
I love it. We just crave adventure, right? That's what it's really all about for us is we crave adventure in this family, and getting out in the outdoors and getting that fresh air is necessary after being cooped up in an office all week. So we like to get out there and enjoy it. So yeah, we got into overlanding, I guess, 2 years ago, and we've been hitting all the expos up until COVID, obviously. We absolutely love it. The boys love it. It's my smallest son, Boone. He's 2. Last night we said, hey, after dinner, let's go for a walk. And he said, are we going camping? And I was like, yes.
Yeah, he wants to go camping. That's the first thing on his mind, which is awesome.
Craving that adventure.
What before we jump into DeskRig, because this is super exciting and I'm fired up to have you here today. What's your favorite spot to camp? There's got to be like a favorite spot. Might be nearby, might not be.
Yeah, so definitely have a favorite spot, and I'm not going to reveal the exact location. No offense,
no coordinates.
It's a secret spot for a reason, but no, I'm from Greenville, Tennessee. It's the home of Andrew Johnson, who was Abraham Lincoln's vice president. And he was president also, the only president to be impeached all the way, actually. Interesting fact. So down in Greene County, we border North Carolina. And so the Appalachian Mountains run right between the 2 states. And there is an area called Paint Creek, which is this little wilderness area. And if you drive far enough back in there, there's a little side road that goes easily missed, but it leads to a dead end campsite, which is this huge peninsula that's surrounded by this beautiful creek. And off one side, and then
off one picture, man.
Then off of one side, there is a little pretty well kept trail as well. So it's a perfect spot to come, and everybody can have like water frontage. The boys, the moms, the dads, everybody can come out there. All the friends and family can come out there and enjoy it. And then we can go on a little hike up the creek and just to, enjoy that spot. We've never seen anybody back there. So it's definitely a secret.
Well, on to business, man. Super excited. For those of you who are tuning in via the YouTube channel, you can see DeskRig in action right here. You can tell that Garren and I have a different video presence than almost anybody out there. Tell us a little bit about DeskRig in your own words and what you guys do, what you guys offer.
Yeah. So elevator pitch, DeskRig was created to fill the gap between the space that exists post-coronavirus or in the remote working environment where you don't have a corporate office to stand behind. You can't bring somebody to a corporate office and say, hey, look how successful we are by showing you our space.
Our badass office space.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, look how amazing this is. All of our meeting rooms, all this fancy architecture, all this new woodworking, right?
Which really doesn't mean much to begin with.
It doesn't, but subconsciously people make these micro judgments along the way of making a decision on who they're going to work with and who they're going to spend their money with. And really it all comes down to trust. And what we wanted to do was fill that gap and say, we know that there is this subconscious stigma that comes along with working from home, especially, when you're in your basement or you've got a laptop in a strange location in your house and the background looks bad. People are micro judging you along the way, even though they're only doing it subconsciously. And look, everybody knows that you're working from home because of coronavirus. That's probably it. But nonetheless, it still doesn't feel the same professionalism level than it would if you were in your office. So that's the gap we wanted to fill, was being able to bring a professional virtual office environment and virtual presence to professionals looking to make money through building relationships.
So was it coronavirus, COVID-19, that made you realize that DeskRig was a necessity, or is this something that you've been using already, that you created and have been using yourself? Tell me a little bit of the story of how you got your start.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been working in software sales for 4 or 5 years now. And when I got my first software sales job, I was working remotely and I was selling to a global clientele. So people in Amsterdam, Singapore, Berlin, I mean, you name it, I was talking to somebody there. And in South America, I mean, I could go down the list. But, what I really realized through that process was that just what I mentioned a second ago, there's a subconscious stigma with people working from home. And when you're trying to sell, a 6-figure or $1 million product, and in my case, it was software,
right,
to people halfway across the world. And when they saw you, what they saw was your office at your house. There was a disconnect there between what I was asking for and what I looked like. And it didn't feel, I'm sure from their perspective, they didn't feel the trust that they needed to trust me with that money that I was going to be able to execute, even though my entire team was together in another location in an office and I was just the representative. There is this consistency factor that goes
calling out of Tennessee, home office, right? Into a big corporation, big enterprise.
Exactly. So this was back in 2000, mid 2018, Q3 2018. So I went to the drawing board and I was like, look, I need to match my in-person presence, which is pretty much taken well, with my virtual presence. I need that exact same amount.
Minus the accent. No, I'm just kidding.
Kidding. I learned a long time ago, Justin, a Southern accent sells anything. As a matter of fact, when I go into sales calls, I'll turn it up if I need to.
Oh, there you go.
But no, really. So, so Q3 2018, I went to the drawing board and I looked at some other industries and I looked at streamers. Frankly, I looked at video game streamers and I said to myself, man, you really don't see this level of content production anywhere, live content production anywhere except for streaming. The business world really hasn't adopted these techniques yet. And I wonder if they could be adapted for business. So I have a friend who works in the space. I reached out and I said, hey, could you help me? Like, I don't know, just put a PowerPoint presentation behind me. Right. And he was like, dude, were you serious? Yeah, of course I could, So he came over to the house and walked me through everything I was going to need and walked me through all the different tools and techniques that I was going to have to do. Although he didn't really know how I was going to leverage it, he gave me all the ideas and all the tools I needed to take the next step. So it's gone through a few iterations between then and now. But we've gotten it down to the size of a desk. It's effectively a small studio, very small studio, compact. but it's obviously high yield. So you get a very high quality audio and video experience, being able to, enrich the senses of your participants on your calls.
Without a doubt. By the way, any conversation I have via video, be it with a salesperson, be it with a VP of sales or a CEO, everyone undoubtedly is like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Essentially, you're getting marketing for DeskRig just by having a guy like me using it on telephone calls, on video calls, etc. Because it's that impactful, right? Everybody out there thinks they're doing a good job by putting a picture of their family in the background. They got flowers or plants, something green. They got an ambiance light. Meanwhile, they got the ceiling fan spinning above their head with the halo, with the light and a crooked, vent that's catching people's eyes. So like it's you got one chance to make a first impression.
Exactly right.
And this impression is one that is like, it's literally taking me the video conferencing, video meeting, all internal meetings, sales meetings, interviews by storm, right? I mean, if you're out there interviewing, and that's part of what this podcast is about, right? Is to kind of help people get to the next step. If you're interviewing, this is the new normal, video conferencing. So video interviews. So you might as well make the best first impression you possibly can right off the bat. And this is a way to do it. Man, entrepreneurship, right? Starting your own gig, you got to ask yourself, I'm going to ask you how you got the balls to do it, dude. Like literally, like, like what, tell me a little bit about support. Like there's a lot of people, this is the ugly truth is that there's a lot of people out there who have found themselves on the not so great end of this pandemic. But the positive that's going to come out of this is that anytime there's a major downturn like this in our economy, so many good things come about it. I mean, look at the time that a lot of people have been able to spend with their families that they haven't been able to. There's going to be new technologies created. There's going to be new solutions created out there. So like, how did you just say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to get started with this. I'm going to push hard. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to start with Justin Kane because look at this video presence, man. Tell me a little bit how you got the chutzpah.
Yeah, for sure. So, honestly, it really all started with just using the solution. I mean, in the beginning, I created it just for myself. I wasn't eyeing starting a business. I had a career in e-commerce sales. I felt really comfortable in that space, and I really enjoyed, helping companies build your digital ecosystems and doing digital transformations. That's really exciting for me. I like to build things, but on all the calls that I had, it was just kind of hard to ignore because I would start a sales presentation. And somebody would always, it never fails. Somebody stops me and they'll say, "Hey, Garren, stop for a second." I'm like, "Okay." And I know it was coming. I know it's coming. And they say, "Listen, this is really cool, but like, how are you doing that?"
Exactly.
Right? And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you real quick. My side company, this side gig I'm doing on the side, whatever, DeskRig." And after that happening, a couple hundred times, you start to think to yourself, maybe there is something here, right? Maybe this could be turned into a business and rolled out to less technical individuals and somebody could really own this virtual presence space because frankly, it just didn't exist. So, I really took the market feedback first. And then, I really analyzed the space that was available, right? And I kind of looked at the tools that are available in the market. And I said, could somebody or something come in and fill this gap? And what I came up with is what right? You've got PowerPoint and Prezi and all these other slide or content creation tools. And then on the other side, you've got Zoom and Cisco WebEx and Blue Jeans and Life Size and Google Hangouts and 8x8 and but the problem is creating content and then having a call. There's no production there, right? So there's no ability for you to work in cadence or work in some type of a dynamic visual experience that includes you as part of your graphical elements. I mean, typically, somebody I'm going to share my screen now. Everybody goes, "Oh, pull the phone out, right? Turn the camera off," because it's just going to be a body of text. that I don't want to watch, and I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to read it while you're also reading it at a different pace than I am. So I really, felt like after using this for a while, getting the feedback and assessing the addressable market and the gap in the market, I said, this might be something. So I spent some time talking to my wife. And one day I woke up and I was frankly, I was miserable. I just was not happy with what I was doing with myself every day. I felt bored and stale, and I'd been sitting on this amazing idea that frankly, I was just afraid to take the next step because, there is a financial risk at quitting your job and jumping into something like this. But, I'm really excited about the feedback that I've gotten from folks out there, the response that we're getting from just our initial launch and talking to people like you. So yeah, I mean, that's what ended up pushing me over the edge is basically, my wife saying, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. The one thing that you didn't mention that I want to make sure everybody understands here is that DeskRig is a layer, all right? And DeskRig can layer on top of any video conferencing solution. So this is not a replacement for Zoom.
Right.
It's not a replacement for Google Hangout. I mean, educators can use this. Let's talk a little bit about that. Who do you see? Let's talk about all the different applications for DeskRig.
Oh, right? Yeah, sure. I think the first one's obvious, right? I mean, that's why I'm here, right? I mean, people that are looking for a new career, right? People that are looking to step up the next level in their story, the new Pilcrow in their story. I think especially for people going into interviews in a competitive environment in a bad economy, I mean, you need to stand out. Frankly, you've got to stand out. You've got to have the ability to be recognized by the interviewer, and because they're going to see 100 people, and relatively everybody's resume for the same role should be the same, right? Pretty similar. So you need to stand out. And so I think people are looking for jobs. I mean, this is the perfect tool to help you stand out, to get that job, and then also to propel you to success at that job, to be recognized faster in that career. So just simply, if for no other reason, career advancement and recognition in the space that you're already in. I know most of you out there have experienced this, where you're doing a good job, but it doesn't go noticed because you don't flaunt it in a way, right? And not to say that DeskRig is about flaunting yourself, but it's about just shining a light on you, right? Making people recognize the value that you bring and saying, hey, like, I'm here, I'm serious. I take my presence seriously, and I want to command your respect. Through not only my appearance and my presence, but my actions. And I want I want those things to be reciprocal and balanced.
I got to be honest with you, Garren. The first time we met, I'll tell the story, man. I reached out to you to potentially present, or I saw a job posted somewhere. I was connected to your CEO. Or something like that. I reached out to you about a job posting, and you said, hey, Justin, I'm going to get you in touch with the right folks. I'm not the guy to talk to, but let's set up a video call. And I'm over here saying to myself, like, dude, this is like right on the tippy toes of COVID, if I remember correctly. And you're like, hey, you're like pushing for a video call with me. And I'm like, who is this dude? Like, what? Video, like, come on, I know people are doing it, but like, I don't do that. I'm a phone guy. Like, I'll make $100 a day. I'll talk to between 15 and 20 people per day. Like, those are my goals. Right. And I'm like, I don't have time to mess around with this. When I clicked on, so I open up my MacBook Pro. I open that thing up. I make sure the microphone is working, make sure the camera's working, turn around. I start messing with some pictures. I got stacks of files over here, move them all, get them out of here. And then you come on the screen, and I was like, my jaw dropped, and I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, this, once again, those of you on the YouTube link, which will be posted up shortly, your call is going to begin shortly. This is what I see. DeskRig, boom. Garren jumps right in.
Hey, Justin, what's up?
Exactly.
Great to meet you.
I felt like a piece of dirt compared to Garren. So, one of the things that I think a lot of people are worried about with regards to technology like this is like, man, you know me, I'm not very technical. I can frame out a house. I can do a lot of things, but technology I kind of got away from because these Mac, Mac computers and PCs, they make it so easy to do stuff, right? It's like, oh, plug and play, oh, blah, 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 blah. Do you have to be super technical to get DeskRig up and running? Tell me a little bit about that.
No, you don't. I mean, it is a technical system when it comes down to it. But with that said, to get it set up is not very difficult. I mean, if you can, assemble a piece of IKEA furniture, you can definitely assemble a DeskRig, right? I mean, it's much less complex than that. And frankly, it's fun because it feels like they're work toys, right? And I think a lot of people don't invest that way into their work toys, but it's not difficult. It does take a little bit of time, right? Once you receive your package in the mail with all of your equipment, you'll pop open our videos, kind of our walkthrough setup videos one by one. We've kind of partitioned them into each individual component because we wanted to take a lot of extra care to make sure that there were no stones unturned, right? We wanted you to be able to hop on that video and be like, man, that really was, maybe it was, it would be complex without these videos. If somebody just sent me this with a piece of paper that said, screw these holes in here. But the videos hopefully add that extra value. And we'll leverage DeskRig to help make those videos. So it is pretty easy to set up. We help you with all that. Basically, we help you deliver a turnkey experience. And really, it's two different types of users, right? We've got businesses and organizations where we help to roll out this to 10, 15, 20, 50 people. And that's a lot more hands-on where, we sometimes will go out to do like a 2 or 3 hour walkthrough in person and help people get this up and going. Now, obviously with COVID going on, not really happening as much, but we will be going on site. For the people who are individuals who just want to reach out to us and they're like, man, I'm not an organization. Can I afford this? Can I get this done myself? Absolutely. Our customer success team basically walks you through A to Z.
So yeah, I mean, for me, it was pretty simplistic. I mean, it works on both platforms, both iOS and the PC version of Windows and et cetera. I mean, it's a layer. You're not replacing anything with regards to the video conferencing. You just literally click Zoom on it. What we're using right now, and bam, you got your DeskRig assets there. One of the things that I think is really important is your professional services option, right? So like you guys can actually go out to an organization and work with that organization's marketing team to make sure that every single person has the right banner and title and in the background. I know that a lot of organizations that I've spoken to about Woodbridge and about what I do as a recruiter are interested to know whether or not they can put the client company's logo on the back. And you absolutely can. One, but two, then when I jump into a share screen and I start going through my presentation on who I am and what I do, they're like, oh, you don't even need that because you can just utilize, the PowerPoint that we've got on screen B to walk through our presentation and demo. It's awesome. Where do you see DeskRig, man? Where do you see this going? Where do you want to take this thing?
Yeah, man, good question. I'm really excited for the future of DeskRig. Our team has a really big vision. So we're starting as a lot of small businesses and startups do, selling a technique, services, and reselling some products. So obviously we'll help you pick the right stuff out, and we'll help you set it up and help you use it. And from a customer success perspective, make sure you're successful with the rig. Long term, where we want to go is we want to, as the name suggests, we want to build a DeskRig, right? And going back to like our previous conversation, and I'll give you a quick background on that piece, the whole idea of car camping, overlanding. So your vehicle is in the industry is considered your rig, right? And everybody customizes their rig for their application, right? So some people want, better sleeping quarters. Some people want showering areas, or some people want solar panels and hot water, or a toilet, or whatever it be, right? You customize your rig, and you have all these racks and mounts that you've spent a lot of money on so that you can mount things to your car to carry it out in the wilderness. Now, I was sitting around one day and I was trying to dream up a name for this. And I realized that, I treat a lot of the things in my life like that, like not just my truck. It's like everything that I do, I'm trying to like tweak it and customize it to where it's just right for me and helps me be maybe a little more lazy, right?
In the long run.
In the long run. So, but then I realized like that's the same story with my desk, right? It's a customizable extension of my being, and it's really frankly where I spend the most amount of time in my life is in front of my computer.
Yeah, we all do, man.
I thought, why don't I use that name and call it your DeskRig, right? And so the idea would be that with a lot of this new equipment that you would end up using with DeskRig to make one of these professional productions happen for live video conferencing, sometimes it could take some space up on your desk. And while it's not a big deal, the return is worth the investment in space. I'm
going to tell you right now, I got all kinds of room over here. I got a cup of coffee. I got a bottle of water. I got a microphone. I mean, I could sleep on this desk, like not like I ever would, but we're talking about this thing, this setup is super lean. It's super clean. Yeah, I could probably do a little bit better with the wiring and stuff like that, but I set it up.
Those are things that we're trying to fix.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So that's the idea is that and here's another issue is that everybody's got a different rig. Right. Some people have a webcam. Some people are using a professional camera. Some people are using Loom Cubes. Some people are using LED panel lights. It really just depends upon the person, the space, and the need. I mean, there really are some considerations that go along with that. And so the rig that we're working with our designers on, will be modular. Right. So it will be a one mountable rig where you can mount all of the different pieces, and we'll have accessories to mount laptops, monitors, cameras, lights, microphones, all the things that may go into your DeskRig long term, cable management, all those different things, power. As again, I keep thinking of keeping up additional things I didn't mention, but it's all going to be mounted in one place. And that's just so powerful to be able to centralize all of these components into one mount. And it's kind of hard to understand that until you have a rig in your house and you're like, okay, sure, it's not taking up too much space, but I see why a one mountable system might
make sense. Yeah.
Right. And not to mention, think about the idea of, maybe not everybody is going to have the ability, the want, or the budget to buy the full thing up front. They're going to want to piece it together because it is a personalization thing. It kind of feels good to be like, I'm going to buy the base, then I'm going to buy an accessory.
You know what though? I'm going to tell everybody my experience in this kind of stuff. Spend the money up front. I'm going to tell you right now, spend the money up front, get the real stuff, because what happens is you get the less expensive stuff, right? And then you realize like, oh man, I'm using my webcam, or I bought this webcam for $50, $75, and the pictures are kind of grainy, pixels aren't great, blah, blah, blah. Lighting isn't great. Let me upgrade the camera. Well, that $75, $80 that you just spent on that webcam, which is essentially a piece of junk, could have gone towards that, Canon camera that you should be using. And so my advice to anybody out there listening who's interested in this is literally scrape up the cash to do it right the first time, because you're going to be a lot happier in the long run. Just to kind of keep things going here. How are you spreading the word about this? Other than like a guy like me using it and everybody saying, what are you doing? How are you doing it? And me passing it.
Right now, yeah, that's a good question. And right now, it's the funny thing about DeskRig, right? That we use it to sell, and so it sells itself in a big way. And that's the beauty behind the rig, right? The DeskRig experience is, I can go out to my network and say, hey, listen, I want to make you look like a superstar in your next call. And, convince one individual at an organization to roll this out for themselves. And when they use it on the call, everybody else who looks like a bum is going to say to themselves, man, I need to look like Joe. Joe's killing it. Joe's looking like a superstar over there, and Joe's going to get recognized by his executives for taking that extra step. Right. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to Joe's executive and he's like, listen, we need this. Like the whole team. The whole team. I can't have Joe looking better than me every day. I need to maintain my executive presence and leadership presence. Right. I'm going to have to at least match Joe now. So thanks for that. But we're also going to roll it out to the whole team because we see where it adds value. And so that's really what we're doing right now is we're going out and we have a small team, but we have big networks between all of us. And so we're all going out and, reaching out in our networks to people we know this would add to the bottom line for at the end of the day. We know you're going to make more money with DeskRig. So we feel great calling and saying, hey, listen, a small investment will make you
took the words out of my mouth, buddy.
More successful, and so it's a really easy sell. You hop on the call and instantly, just like you said, just like you did, just like everybody else does, they say, I've never seen a video conference experience like this, and I need to be doing this. So it actually sells itself. Obviously we're also doing, other traditional tactics like, social media, content creation, ad placement, social media ad placement. So we're playing the marketing game as well, but we're just kind of launching. So we are actually taking baby steps. We're not spending a lot of money on advertising. We're still going the route of, working within our networks, because we do want to get this in the hands of people that, this is kind of like insider industry knowledge, right? Like insider trading, right? It's like we have this secret weapon, right? And I want my friends to have it first, selfishly.
Yeah.
That's not me being away. It's me saying, I love my people and they've been good to me. And I want to make sure that they have the first right of refusal, right? To say, hey, look, like, I know you're going to my competitor to get them in this, to look better than me, so I'll do it first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's laying the foundation, man. And you know what, as the foundation is laid, the building grows, so I really feel like that's a good way of doing it. It's kind of the you hear these stories about these startups, starting in people's garages and guys taking skateboarding breaks halfway through the day. It's kind of what you're doing, and it's bootstrapping. It's
right.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The response has been incredible. You want to talk a little bit about Slice and Pie?
Well, if you're going to say bootstrapping, I just got to say, if you're a startup out there, if you're listening to this podcast and you are doing a startup, found this book called Slicing Pie Handbook, and we built our business on it. And it is an amazing way to do bootstrapped equity startups, because if anybody's done a startup before, they've done the, hey, Justin, let's start a business. I'll be in 50 and you'll be in 50. And then a year later, Justin's done all the work and Garren still gets 50%.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good to anybody. So I'm not going to go a lot into it, but basically the long story short on this book is, the value you put into a business is the value you should get out of it, and no more, no less.
I'll make sure I put a link to that book, because I actually own it as well. I think I got it off Amazon, Amazon.com.
Yeah, and we're also another thing that, while we're on the topic of books, and I brought this one, the Tribal Leadership. That's
great book.
That's another one that I want to mention.
Great book. That book was actually the writing of that book started in Connecticut with a hospital. Right. Here in Connecticut, which I've actually been in. The experience there was absolutely incredible. Tribal leadership. It's about different levels within an organization of you get these subcultures within organizations, and this hospital has done a phenomenal job with really customer experience. Garren, from the moment you pull in that driveway, first of in the parking lot, you can find a space. They got enough spaces. There's an elderly man, retired guy with this big, bamboo straw hat on, comes up in a golf cart and picks you up. He drives you to the front gate. I'm like, I could walk, baby. Like, I'm straight. Like, I'm walking in, and trust me, I'm walking out. Okay. Cause everybody's stressed out about going into a hospital. You walk in there, dude, there's waterfalls running. It's calming. They've got like binaural beats playing.
Because they put the customer first.
It just, big time, man.
Because
and it just like takes the pressure off, the check-in process. It's all about people working together as a tribe, together, man, to get one goal, and that's in this case the customer and that experience. It's one goal. It's one goal, man.
That's what it's all about.
I got to ask you this one. We got DeskRig right over here. You're doing real well, just like me, man. I got Woodbridge Worldwide is my main piece of business, and a breath of fresh career is something that I'm putting together to try to help people out, who are looking to get their start, looking to get a new job. Looking to get employed. Are you working on any other side projects? You got anything else that going on? No,
absolutely not. No,
you're the idea man.
Very purposefully. Yeah.
It's going right into DeskRig. Everything's going into it right now.
That's been my downfall, right? In my career. And if I could give people that advice, it's like, stop focusing on all the peripheral. Don't get
SOS, man, shiny object syndrome.
yeah, it is. And it's not even that. I think for me, it's just, I believe in saying yes. Right. So if somebody calls me and they say, hey, you want to be involved in this project? I'm like, yeah, let's build it. Then somebody else comes along. They're like, hey, you want to be involved in this project? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I think that while saying yes is a good thing and it gets you involved and it gets you out there, I do believe in that mentality. When you're trying to build a startup, a business that you're serious and you're passionate about, I think that it requires
blood, sweat, and tears, man.
It requires focus. And that's the only way that I'm going to be successful is focusing on DeskRig and just putting every bit of blood, sweat, and tears and heart that I have available. I want to leave 100% on the field. You know the saying, Justin,
man.
Right? You got to leave 100% out there.
You got to be in that zone, dude. You got to get in that zone. I had
sports mentality.
A regional VP on last week, and for those of you who listen to it, his name's Ben Defoe, and he was talking about that laser focus, right, and being in that tunnel, in the zone. In college, I read a book called Flipping the Switch. It's about flipping the switch, and really just being dialed in. He talked about Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Wayne Gretzky and Tiger Woods, and think about that for 1 second. You're playing in the PGA Tour. The Masters, you got 400 people around the tee, and you got to hit a little ball off that tee and not kill somebody, because I would shank it. Maybe purpose. No, I'm kidding. I would definitely be so nervous with that many people around me. And these guys are just laser focused, man. They don't even see these people. And they have the ability to slow it down. That was the other advice that Ben gave, is like, talking about, man, if I could give one piece of advice, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's do the right thing. Let's make sure we're doing what matters. So I ask you this one, entrepreneur over here, Garren, what advice can you give to the listeners out here about doing your own thing?
Don't wait. Yeah. I mean, I think that is,
what if, right? What if I did that?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people say to themselves, look, I need to get to here before I do that, or I need to get to there before I do that, or I need to accomplish this before I do that. And the truth is you don't. I mean, obviously, and there's fringe circumstances, right? Financially, potentially, where you maybe you have big credit card debt, you can't just leave and quit and then have zero revenue. So obviously you have to set yourself up, but don't wait any longer than that, right? And no longer than the hey, literally, I wouldn't be able to eat, I'd get evicted from my house type scenarios. Like, go, like, chase it, right? Because you're passionate about it, you love it, you want to do it for a reason. Like, just don't be afraid, I think is the advice I would have for entrepreneurs specifically, is just stop being afraid to believe in your product, believe in your vision, and believe in your dream. And because, when you're able to buy in to you and your dream and your success, I promise you other people will. They'll see you believe in you, and that's infectious.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. DeskRig is doing it right. I don't know any other solution out there. Yeah, no doubt. I don't know any other solution out there that's doing what you're doing. And if you're not doing, somebody else is going to do it. Right. So somebody else is going to come up with that idea. So just jump in, dive in, get focused. Man, is there anything else I should have asked you and didn't?
No, I think you hit all of them. I think honestly, I mean, as far as the questions go, we've talked about everything, DeskRig related. I mean, I definitely want to leave your listeners with a URL, right? Go visit us at deskrig.com, deskrig.com. Check out what we have to offer. And if you're interested in learning more, just fill out the form at the bottom of the homepage.
And Garren's going to be the guy reaching out to you himself, which is awesome.
That's right. You'll be talking to me.
Yeah. Well, keep rocking, buddy. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh man, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, we're going to, I told Ben this last week as well. We're going to do this again.
You're going to have to check in with me in 2 or 3 months, and you're going to be like, man, you bought that Lamborghini yet?
Whoa, come on. You're not the Lamborghini.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I know what you're going to do, man. You're going to upgrade that Toyota to a Ford.
I was about to say, honestly, and my wife laughs at me all the time. She's like, you're the guy who's going to wear the same t-shirt forever, and you're going to buy another Toyota Tacoma when you're a millionaire. It's like, yeah, I don't know. That's just the way I am. I'd much rather spend my money on memories and experiences than things. So.
Yeah. And your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have a great day, man. Go slay that dragon and sell some rigs.
Let's do it. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you having me on the program.
You too, buddy. Have a great weekend.
All right, thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Garren.
Bye.
Bye-bye.